Dr. Arland Hill and Leah Hill here with you today, and today we want to bring to you food replacements that are going to make the transition a little bit easier with your diet, and that you're not going to walk away feeling guilty after having eaten these. And keep in mind why this is important is because at the end of the day, you've been consuming foods that are robbing your energy, and what we want to help you do is get back on track with consuming foods that are going to be restoring of your energy and that are not going to keep you in that path that you may have been on prior. So we're just going to start off here with a couple of options that we use in our home, right? So one of the ones that we're going to introduce to you here is Stevia. And Stevia, we like Stevia because it allows us to flavor some of our favorite beverages, right?
Especially coffee in the morning. Stevia is twice as sweet as sugar, so it doesn't take as much. And if you buy a right, clean kind, it doesn't have that bitter aftertaste that everybody talks about. So less is more with Stevia. Great alternative.
Yeah, and here's one really cool thing about Stevia is that, you know, Stevia, the more it is being studied, the more we're finding out about Stevia. And not only does it help actually sweeten the beverages that you're using, whether you're using it in coffee or a smoothie or some other type of liquid, one of the things that it does, it actually helps them to balance your blood sugar too. So this may actually be something that can help recover your blood sugar a little faster. And remember, that is one of the key components to having optimal energy production. If you have good blood sugar levels, you're going to have better energy. So that's the first one, is Stevia. Now, right in that same thought process, I want to introduce to you Xylitol. Now, how do you use Xylitol? How do you like to use it here at home?
Actually, for like holidays or special occasions, I'll actually sweeten my almond crust fruit cobbler with Xylitol. It's great, simple, not overly sweet. I'll actually use it in some dishes, like if I make a homemade muffin or like a cake or something like that. I'll use Xylitol because, again, it doesn't take as much, and there's just not that worry of putting in that processed sugar in your food.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, if I take this and I shake it, you can actually hear it's granulated, it shakes up, and when you open a container of Xylitol, it looks just like sugar, right? I mean, it looks just like sugar in the container here. So this is one that you can definitely use as a replacement in your cooking dishes, and the dishes that you're cooking or baking or something like that. And it will work in beverages. You just don't want to overconsume it, and you want to make sure that you're getting a source of Xylitol that is from hardwood trees. It can come from corn, or it can come from hardwood trees like a birch tree. You want to make sure you're getting it from the birch tree sources. Okay, what do we have next here?
Ooh, one of my favorites. So when I was transitioning and trying to find things to make things taste good, that didn't take a lot of time and it was a lot of easy. Teriyaki sauce came up a lot. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't make my favorite Asian dishes. I can't do this. I can't make the burgers. So I found this wonderful product. It's coconut Aminos teriyaki, and it's non-GMO, gluten-free, all the great stuff that you normally look for. They have several different kinds, and I love to use in dishes.
Yeah, and something on this that folks might not realize is that when they get a soy sauce or a teriyaki sauce, it actually has wheat gluten in it. It's actually in there. So you'll remember that one of the things that I recommended right off the bat, my first recommendation to you in terms of restoring your energy, was to make sure that you eliminated grains or started avoiding grains in your diet. And sometimes grains are one of those foods that have a real propensity for being snuck into foods. And this is another great example of one of the foods that they do that with. So the coconut aminos completely eliminates that. You don't have to worry about being exposed to grains. And listen, you're not going to give up any flavor whatsoever by utilizing this. All right, what do we have now?
So going into transitions and not eating wheat and staying away from the grains, that piece, I was really missing my Sunday pancakes or my waffles, so I found a really clean option. So you can make these at home. I found a really clean pre-made mix, but there's plenty of recipes out there to make your own healthy almond or coconut-based mixes. So this one is really great. I actually can make this into muffins, pancakes, and waffles, so it's very, very versatile.
It is, and one of the things that I also like about this is that if you're eating a refined food, and some folks may look at this and go, well, this is refined too, it's in a pre-made mix. And you know what, I won't argue that point with you, but this is definitely a better option, and here's why. The reason being on this is that this is not a refined grain in the sense that we think about grains being refined and being stripped of their nutrients. This is actually different. When you consume a grain, you're going to be consuming an excessive amount of carbohydrates in a pre-made mix like this. This is actually quite different. This has a much more balanced breakdown of proteins, fats, fiber, carbohydrates in this. So whereas you might take a traditional, like a pancake mix that's made from wheat flour or something similar, you're going to flood your body with carbohydrates. This is actually going to be much different. This is much more metabolically stabilizing. And if you have good metabolic function, guess what, guys? Your energy is going to be better. It can't help but be better. You're going to be able to burn energy more efficiently, and you're going to feel more energetic. So, while this may not be 100% optimal, like Leah said, this is something that makes the transition process really easy to go through. So if you're looking to take those initial steps, having a mix like this one is going to be using almond flour, coconut flour, and cassava flour. Yeah, easy substitute to get started on the process. Now, what about, that's more of a breakfast. What about when you're looking at the refined foods, say for example like a pasta that you may consume with lunch or dinner? What options do you have here? So what do we have?
So we have plenty of options, but this is one of my new finds. I was really excited to get this. It's actually made of green peas, and there's 2 ingredients: green peas and pea flour. Another option is your red lentil noodles. There's black bean. There's so many different options out there. As long as they're non-GMO and they're certified organic, you're good to go, with the exception.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind that as we're telling you this information, we're not telling you this to say use these in place of vegetables or anything of that nature. So for example, like if you're looking to use this in place of pasta, you need to take those initial steps to start making that transition over towards a different type of dietary pattern than what you've been consuming. These are things that can help that transition. Ultimately, what you would want to try to achieve, and one of the things we really enjoy, is taking a zucchini that we grow, or a daikon radish. If you're not familiar with that, daikon radishes are fairly large radishes. They're fairly long. But what's great about these things is that you can take them and put them in a spiralizer and just make your own noodles out of them, and even a spaghetti squash is an option here. So you've got your own noodles from a vegetable source, right?
Exactly.
But if you haven't quite gotten to that point yet, listen, we understand that this is all about helping you transition to that next step and continue to move forward. So having a noodle or a pasta that is actually made out of a pea or a lentil flour is a good option. You have good protein content in here, you have good fiber content in here, and these are all going to be things that are going to help balance the amount of carbohydrates that are being consumed with this food source. Now, those are the 5 food replacements that we wanted to introduce to you to help begin to restore your energy. But I've got one more for you. I've got a bonus here for you, and this one is maybe so obvious, but we overlook it a lot of times. What do we have?
So one of my favorite new finds that I've been incorporating in a lot of dishes, and I've really fallen in love with it, is wild rice. Now, wild rice is actually not a rice. It's actually a wild grass. But I love to cook it in a little bit of vegetable broth or a bone broth, or just whatever meat broth I'm currently going to put the dish with, and it just turns out so wonderful.
Yeah, so if you're looking to replace rice is a staple for a lot of folks, then wild rice, and as Leah said, this is actually not a grain, it's a grass, right? So it's in a category completely different. But one of the things that's nice about wild rice is that it does have a lot of fiber content to it. It has a lot of texture to it as well. So it actually is going to feel like you're eating more sustenance. There's actually more to your meal, be more satiated, and it's more satisfied with your meal. And this is a good option that we like to employ when we don't want to prepare cauliflower rice. We like to prepare cauliflower rice with some of our meals as a rice replacement, but when we still feel like we need those carbohydrates, or when we're looking to eat something that's more balanced and try to find that initial replacement, instead of your traditional refined white rice, consuming a wild rice just like you would find it coming straight from the fields, hasn't been handled, hasn't been refined, is a great option to turn to. So I want to leave you with these options. I mean, these are by no means the only ones that you can start to employ, but these are great ones to start to think about. So, you know, if you're really serious about regaining your energy, you're going to have to get the refined foods out. These refined foods are energy-robbing foods any way you look at them. So start taking those initial steps, get these incorporated in, and we're going to have more information coming to you just like this, because at the end of the day, we want to see you succeed. We want to see you have your energy back. It is not ideal for anybody to be walking around feeling lethargic and fatigued every day, and we're here to help you regain your energy. Thanks for taking the time.